evening and welcome to Crime Wire News. Tonight's top story is developing when we pause to examine the fundamental architecture of this situation. We are immediately struck by the sheer banality of the structural framework. It is not merely that the paradigm has shifted, but rather that the paradigm itself was never truly anchored in a foundational reality to begin with. One must look at the overarching thematic resonance to understand that the synthesis of these disparate elements is functioning exactly as one would expect, given the inherent limitations of the system in play. The complexity here is not derived from depth, but from a chaotic layering of superficial mechanics that simulate function without ever actually achieving it. We are witnessing a series of events that claim to be consequential, yet when subjected to rigorous analytical pressure, they dissolve into a vapor of rhetorical posturing and systemic redundancy. It is a loop, a closed circuit of causality, where the beginning implies the end, and the end is nothing more than a hollow echo of the beginning. To suggest that there is a linear progression here would be a gross miscalculation of the variables. Rather, it is a lateral movement, a sidestep into obscurity that masquerades as forward momentum. The very essence of this scenario is defined by its refusal to adhere to the standard metrics of success or failure, opting instead for a gray area of operational mediocrity that is as fascinating as it is utterly pointless. However, if we dare to peer beneath the veneer, the implications of this trajectory become deliciously obscure. It is the subtle undercurrent of the narrative that provides the true insight, suggesting that the ripple effects will be felt long before the stone has even hit the water. The strategy employed here is reminiscent of a chess game played by novices who believe they are grandmasters, moving pieces with a confidence that is entirely unearned, yet strangely compelling to the untrained eye. What we are seeing is a convergence of intent and accident, a collision where the calculated risk meets the unforeseen variable in a way that suggests a deeper, perhaps more sinister, methodology at work. It is not about the what, my dear viewers, but the how and the why that remain perpetually out of reach. The resonance of the decision-making process implies a certain inevitability, a gravitational pull toward an outcome that feels predestined, yet remains completely undefined. We must appreciate the nuanced interplay between the visible action and the invisible consequence, for it is in that silent space that the true nature of this phenomenon breathes. It creates a vacuum of logic, a space where speculation becomes currency, and certainty is the only thing that is truly bankrupt. And yet, one cannot help but scoff at the amateurish nature of the execution. The sheer lack of foresight displayed here is not just disappointing. It is offensive to anyone with a modicum of intellectual rigor. It is a masterclass in how not to manage a variable, a stumbling, bumbling attempt to control forces that are clearly beyond the comprehension of those gripping the reins. The missteps are so frequent, so glaringly obvious, that one begins to wonder if failure was the objective all along. It is a chaotic symphony of errors, conducted by someone who has clearly never held a baton, resulting in a cacophony that assaults the senses and insults the intelligence. There is a distinct lack of polish, a rugged clumsiness that betrays a deep-seated incompetence at the core of the operation. They act as if they have discovered fire, when in reality, they have merely engaged in arson, with no plan to extinguish the flames. It is pedestrian. It is sophomoric. It is a catastrophic fumble of potential. It could have been harnessed into something magnificent had it been in the hands of someone capable of wielding true power. Instead, we are left with this, a fractured, incoherent mess that barely qualifies as an attempt. Consider, if you will, the entity itself. It moves with a lethargy that mimics caution, but is, in fact, paralysis. It is a beast without a head, a movement without a direction. expanding and contracting in a rhythm that defies biological or mechanical explanation. It exists simply to exist, consuming space and time, while offering nothing in return but its own continued presence. The momentum it generates is illusory, a trick of the light that makes the static appear dynamic. It is neither here nor there, occupying a state of quantum superposition, where it is both everything and nothing, simultaneously. We watch it, we analyze it, we dissect it,